Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends and family around the world, it's Greg.
It's Matt.
And we're the bottom tier.
Bottom tier. We're so bottom, we had to do this a second time.
Yes, we did. There were no ghosts involved at all.
We had Bluetooth connectivity. We heard someone say, "Can you hear me?" We freaked out. We had a panic attack. We started praying to, James White.
Exactly, yeah.
And now we're solved.
And James White came down from upon high and gave us the grace of revealing that it was some other guy's Zoom meeting.
Yes, absolutely. But it was pretty cool. It was a fun time. But Greg, how was your Thanksgiving?
Oh, it was pretty good, man. You know, nice and low key. Didn't do a whole lot, but spent some time with the partner and the cats and everything, and had a little nice dinner and all that sort of thing. Yeah, just nice recharging sort of period of time.
I love that. Yeah, where we apologize for not recording last week. Of course, like here in the United States, we have Thanksgiving. I don't know how many people you don't live in the United States, but time to spend. It's mostly at this point just time to be grateful for your fam and hang out with them is kind of the celebration of it. Even
just reconnect and recharge a little bit.
Yeah.
How about you, Matt? Good holiday?
Yeah, I ended up working on Thanksgiving.
Awesome.
Getting that sweet holiday pay. But,
time and a half, baby.
But we had Thanksgiving on Sunday with the fam, and it was good. It was good.
Awesome.
Yeah. So it was just good. We a lot of people have been playing a new video game that came out with I don't know if I can mention them, Pokemon. And
gotta catch them all.
So my family, a lot of them had Pokemon, and so we ended up just playing that game while we were there. Yeah. Couldn't get them into play Flesh and Blood, but we all played Pokemon.
Hey, you know what? Pokemon is step one. Step one, Pokemon. Step two, Flesh and Blood.
Yeah. We gotta go from the digital to the physical, and then we'll get there.
Exactly.
Yeah. We'll convince them.
So close. You're so close.
So close. But yeah, it was a good holiday.
Good.
So, no
good. I'm glad to hear it. I hope that everybody out there has also had a wonderful Thanksgiving, or if you don't celebrate the holiday specifically or in general, we hope that you had an awesome last week.
Yeah, I hope it was great. But we're back, baby. It's time for some Flesh and Blood news. Of course, if you're first time joining us, we are a Flesh and Blood podcast that likes to take things more on the casual route. Make sure everyone kind of knows the barrier entry, and that's just a fun hobby to have.
Mostly we're just pretty chill.
Yeah.
Just hang out, just talk about things, just being buddies doing things.
Yeah. And you know what? To start things off, I did something pretty crazy yesterday.
What crazy thing did you get up to, Matt?
I ran with Royal Levia in a CC match against a Arakni.
Ooh.
And I won. And the funny part is they regicided. And they did it on purpose. And I
okay, I'm sorry. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's
so
they
regicided. They regicided. They set up the turn. Okay.
Right.
So the one thing about regicide is it's a new assassination specialization.
It's
the
assassin
in the
specialization.
In the print text, it says if there's a card that's been banished, you cannot block with it.
Correct.
Levia is the right hero to do this against because I am banishing everything.
100%.
Right. So they were looking at my banish deck constantly, and they're like, you know what? I'm pretty sure they have everything there. Lo and behold, I had a janky Levia deck, and
what else do you run with Royal on?
Right. I had two cards, only two that I had one copy of in my entire deck, and I drew them on the turn they decided to legicide. They also hit me with their dagger, so they both had -1. Okay. In the beginning of the turn, they Art of Ward.
Oh no.
Right. And so their goal was to Art of War. And they said go again for no reason. They didn't say +1. They said go again.
Just to mess with you.
Right? They said go again. So they're attacking me with the regicide. They kind of did a couple things. It was 5 total.
Ooh.
Just 5. 5 total attack. I had 2-3 blocks that were never used, and my Scabskin Leathers that blocked exactly 5. And then they read their other card that was the assassin attack reaction. It says the card has to say contract on it. And regicide does not say contract. Oh. And so I blocked 5 and won the game on a technicality.
Beautiful.
And we had everyone watching us, and they were like, you said go again, because he thought he said +1 on the attack. And so I freaking won by accident. I was like, this is all I can do. And so I won. It was so good.
Oh, that's amazing.
I hope, you know what? Everyone knows this person that I versed, Jamie. I beat you.
Oh, man. That's beautiful.
So it was great.
That's so good.
So anyways, I had a blast. It was so much fun.
That sounds like it was a good... And you got to end it on regicide. How often are you going to see a regicide pop out?
Honestly, I'm obsessed with playing... I'm not going to build Arakni. Like, Arakni is very, very good. Like, he has a very good win weight. Can't really win against Dramai right now, which is very interesting. But I'm not going to build him. But I do have an obsession of just, like, building tons of hero decks that are just royal at this point.
I mean, why not?
So I already passed the Levia checklist. Boop, boop. And so now I'm probably going to move back to Bolty Boy, even though I'm a hater. But, you know, I hear he has a good royal build right now involving his Spirit Arena. So I might do a Bolton CC since I have the makings.
That's exciting.
And then from there, we'll figure it out.
Oh, man, it's a whole new chapter in Flesh and Blood, guys.
It's funny. Like, it's all for the memes. Like, you go pick up, like, if you guys just want to have fun and throw people off, like, just go get that dumb, like, crown. That's $20. It's a $20 legendary.
It's a 20 is okay. Is
it's
that
literally legitimately a $20 legend, unless it's cold foil on whatever. But like,
okay, yeah, like the Marvel and stuff is more
$20. So like, just go buy the $20 legendary.
And just fool around with
the M's and just be like, bruh, here's brick knick-knack. My first turn, the turn 1 was fantastic.
Okay,
I drew an E-Pot, a timestamp potion, and a knick-knack bric-a-brac. And I already had my gold out, so I just rolled Scabskins, put an E-Pot out, pitched the timestamp, and I put another E-Pot and a timestamp, and so I had that, and I was running Rock on Levia. So there was a turn. I was like, go again, Rock.
Oh my god!
It was awful.
Bottom tier, top tip, everybody. Do it for the memes.
Dude, it was. I was holding my own. There was one turn though where I could not do blood debt, so I took 12 blood debt damage.
No.
And I still had more HP. Like, I was just doing well. It was ridiculous.
Oh, that's delightful. That's exactly the right way to come back in after a long break like this.
Yeah.
Hey, guess what I did? Some ridiculous nonsense.
Oh, I will not win on any Talishar matches. This was just literally it was just a fun game between an assassin and a Royal Levia. Yeah. It was great.
Just buddies having fun, doing things.
Yeah, it was great. It was a good time. It was a good time. I played Arakni for the first time in Commoner as well. It was good. I enjoyed it. I messed up a lot in it, but I don't have...
Well, it was like your first time doing it. Of course you messed up.
I don't have 2 spider bites, which is really easy to get. I'm probably going to buy another box at some point, but I don't have 2 spider bites, so I was running the fan. Did
you use it?
I did.
And how did that go for you?
Not great.
Okay. And there we go. Yeah. Not that great.
But hey, it was cool. It's a good time.
See, guys, one of the big things that nobody talks about in this game is the psyops part of it. And if you see a crazy guy coming at you with a knife and a fan, you know you're in for either a great time or a terrible time, possibly both.
It was a good time. It was a good time. I'm enjoying like December, honestly, in my opinion. I know people are going to get sweaty because Battle Harden's happening in January.
And ProQuest is coming up.
And coming up. And so you want to start practicing with those decks. And I definitely recommend going on Talishar and being like, getting sweaty over there.
Just getting your reps
But I think as we go to the armories, right? Right now, our promo card is like the shitty Xmas gift is literally what it's called.
Yep. Azalea got socks.
It is time to just be Mimi. Like, it is time to go out there and just
it's almost Christmas. It's the season, at least here in the West, of brotherhood and charity and all those good values that sort of unite people. So let's chill out for a month.
Yeah,
let's just take a month to kind of rest up, recharge, just rediscover the fun of the game.
Yeah,
right.
Just I don't know. That's my goal is I just want to build fun Mimi decks and just I'm not there to I mean, of course, it's cool to get a win and be like,
victory.
I beat your good deck.
Right.
But it's just fun to go out there and experiment heavily and do stuff you don't normally do and just go out there and just do some fun stuff. It's kind of how I'm treating December. Is just be weird. Be weird with it.
Be weird. Have a good time. If you have an idea for something, give it a try. Who cares at this point?
Yeah.
There's nothing really serious going on this month.
Yeah.
Or anything like that. So in your events, when you're meeting people across the table, you have the chance to sort of stretch your wings a little bit.
Yeah. Could you be a Crouching Tiger Fi and surprise people? Absolutely.
100%. Is it going to work
optimal?
well?
No.
But you could do it.
But it's fun. That's great. That type of stuff is going to be really exciting. And I've been seeing people do fun stuff with Dory, with the Go Again daggers. It's been a cool time to kind of watch the meta and the fun games going out there. I don't know if you've been following it too much, but Dash is insane in Blitz right now.
Oh man, Dash is crushing it.
So that's something you have to look forward to.
Just really popping off in general right now.
Yeah, Dash is pretty much destroying Blitz. Like Dash may Living Legend Blitz pretty fast if it keeps on the same trajectory. So.
And then people are gonna have to figure out how to run Data Doll, which would
be great. Which would be awesome.
About time.
Yeah, and I hope that their Data Doll comes out there and does that stuff. Again, we also have Arakni's actually doing really well in CC. It's
like surprisingly well,
yep.
which. I haven't played against any Arachnis yet, so I don't 100% know. But how much of that do you think is just it's new and people haven't figured it out yet versus actually being good against some of the things that are, out there or possibly
It's actually pretty good. Like, I mean, against Guardians, probably not. And Dramai. Like, they're just stumped against Dramai. But with that, like, you're able to do a lot of sneaky stuff, especially with those assassin extra cards. And so you're able to pretty much treat it like a warrior and banish cards from the top of their deck and really manipulate and build silver and be able to bring that stuff back. So you're constantly getting go again with your boots coming back and all that stuff. So it's a good, interesting deck build that's able to do well. When I versed it yesterday, it was able to do at least like 2 to 3 actions. So like that 10 to that 12 damage a turn is really, really good.
That
right?
That is solid. Yeah.
So
it's not like the craziest aggro we've ever seen, but it's definitely not the, 1 card a turn sort of control thing that myself included, a lot of people were thinking it was going to end up being.
It's aggro control. It's really aggro control because they're watching your deck and they're changing it to a point where you're like, cool, like they may not get a silver from this, but is it worth getting rid of their pummel so I know what's coming? So they have foresight on what your deck's going to be, and they're able to manipulate like what that's going to do. And so it was crazy because like my banish zone was just getting stacked heavily, like playing as Levia, and so I was like, cool, there goes another chance of me having a 6 to be able to go there.
Yep.
So my graveyard starts getting more filled with, not like boosts and stuff like that aren't going to help me. And so it was very interesting to be able to watch and see that. And it was good. Like I enjoyed playing against it, and it was a close match. And so from the reports I hear, like every match is very, very close and there's more thought out and all that stuff. So Ragni's being balanced. I think it's a mixture of both of what you said of being new, but I think it has legs to go forward, and there'll probably be some crazy build that shows up where it's like, but what if you ran Arakni like this? And you're like, oh snap, and it will be
suddenly Arakni has Talishar.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Right. And like, so, and that's really, that's phenomenal. Like to bring a new hero into something like this is really, it's tricky to have them actually at any sort of like competitive sort of level, because there is a lot of balancing, a lot of moving pieces you have to be aware of. But I think it just gets back to like the strength of Dynasty as a set, that not only, a couple of cards here and there, but the new hero, most of the new archetypes you can build around, like they're not just extraneous. They don't just exist to exist. They actually have a place and can be implemented into a bunch of different strategies and a bunch of different sort of use cases. So like Dynasty on the whole has been a really phenomenal set.
Yeah, it's been a great set. Like I think this might be the best, dare I say the best supplemental set we've had so far, but we've only had a couple. So it's hopefully it continues getting better. So.
It's not hard to come off of Everfest as being like.
True. Yeah. True. Even though now I'm using the potions and knick-knack wicker-back. So.
Well, hey, Everfest cards have their place. It took a second for them to come around. Like I run bingo in a couple of things. People laugh at me, but I like bingo.
It's funny. Yeah, it's good. Everfest was more fun and meany, I guess.
Sort of lighthearted, sort of, well, okay, if you want to play, here's a thing that you can play with. And also the most broken hero in the game. Because,
Because we do that. Yeah.
Sometimes you get lucky. But we avoided a Starvo situation here. The entire set is actually like fun and usable and interestingly usable. It's not just a bunch of like, oh, well, this card's obviously a better version of this card sort of thing.
We even saw like in our local Commoner Cup, we allowed Majestic heroes and Legendary heroes to be played as well, as long as they're still following the common rule and the 2 rare rules. So we just kind of let young heroes be young heroes. Promo heroes are different because they have a little bit more game breaky stuff, so they have to do that. But with that, we had our Commoner Cup last week, and Yoji won, right? And
big boy.
We will have deck techs coming out. It's been a while since we hit the YouTube, but next year I think we have a big goals to make sure we're more consistent on that. We just had
100%.
We had a lot of live situations happen as soon as we started, which is great. Good for us. But with that, Yoji won it, and that was interesting. Like it was cool to be able to see more of a. I'm blocking all the time. I have more health than you, and I can hit you hard, and that was cool.
Right, and like that's sort of exactly the thing, and kind of something that I wanted to talk about a little bit. Like those sorts of heroes, the ones that you look at and you say, I don't really see how this is going to work. This seems like a really bad idea. Like Yoji, the Emperor, like a couple of other ones. Like all of them are actually, if you figure out how to use them correctly, maybe not, the best things on the planet, but they're usable. You can win with them. You can actually get good games in. Like you can have fun without just resorting to being a bunch of jokes or so serious that you're sweating out of your eyeballs.
Yeah.
So like, we like to take things from more of like a casual sort of perspective.
Right.
A little lower key, a little more relaxed. You all know our spiel by now. So with the holidays and stuff coming up, and a lot of people starting to sort of look into, hobbies, things to get people, that sort of thing. Inevitably, we're going to have a lot of people who are gifted flesh and blood stuff who maybe haven't played the game before or have just kind of a passing familiarity with it.
Right.
So let's take this episode and let's spend a little time talking about sort of the best ways to get somebody into the game using this particular opportunity to do so. Because really, outside of like, a birthday or whatever sort of cultural things that you might have, this really is the season for, getting people into that, getting them something they wouldn't necessarily get themselves.
Yeah.
And sort of pulling them into something new. So I'm interested to hear some of your thoughts on kind of like the best strategies to pull people into the hobby, build that community a little bit more, and sort of, use this as a jumping off point for the start of the next year and starting out strong with the community.
Yeah. That's a really good one. So, for example, I think there's a couple ways. So, number one is if you live with this person you're going to give the gift to, right? Mm-hmm. I think the best option is to get the classic battle set. I think it's good to give to a friend that you don't live with too, but you have to, I think like why I said that is because you're able to break it open and play together, and you may be even able to like pass it off as like, oh, look what Santa brought me, and give it to yourself and be like, do you want to learn how to play? Because the tricky part is like, I'm going to assume your friend already likes trading card games, so it's going to be easy.
Or is at least like adjacent to that sort of nerdy sort of culture stuff. Yeah.
But if they're really like not into it, then it might be best to be like, oh, I got this thing, we should play it, and present it that way.
Right.
Which you probably already have already done that. But if you're living with the person, Classic Battles is a great way. You have the mat; it's able to explain. The decks are really balanced against each other, and you're able to start doing those matches right there. You can swap between Rhinar and Dory, and it's a really, really good time. And you probably just had a Cyber Monday or Black Friday deal at your local game store for it, and you probably could get it on the cheap. But that would be a great opportunity for the holidays, is like Classic Battles with someone that you're like really close to or like live around and all that stuff. If you have friends that are in the trading card games already, the pre-con blitz decks are great. I really think they are a great purchase, and you could get a variety of them, or kind of be like, oh, like their vibe's more like they're really into plants, so just get them a briar, like whatever, like stuff like that, right? So you could do the pre-con blitz stuff and be able to go from there. And then if your friend's a collector, the art's real beautiful. Just buy them a freaking box.
Just buy him a freaking box and have him open it up.
Yeah. They would be like, wow, this is so cool. Like, yeah, collecting's awesome. Feel that paper wrapper. Isn't that cool? Let's build a deck out of this.
No lie, though, the paper wrappers are pretty awesome.
Yeah. I showed a friend, like, who's a collector.
Yeah.
And they were like, the two things they said was, like, the art is incredible. Like, they were just, like, stoked about the full arts and, like, the actual art of it. And then they just liked it. So, like, if you have collector friends, it's a good set just to be like, hey, here's this. So you do have your options there, but I think your best bet is those pre-con and blitz decks and whatever, and you make sure you buy one for you, buy one for them. You kind of have to be more not manipulative. I guess manipulative. I don't know what the proper word is, but just more like, hey, we both got this thing. Let's try it out.
What a surprise.
Yeah. If they know you're really into flesh and blood, be like, I'm finally getting you into this game and I bought you this. Like, right, here you go. Like,
you have to use it at least once right now.
Yeah. Pre-con, let's do it. We're going. But if they don't know you're into flesh and blood and you're trying to get them into this hobby, or you're both trying to get into this hobby, if you're listening to this podcast for our title, which will be Christmas, I don't know.
Exactly that. Woo!
Presents for friends. Then
presents for friends.
I would definitely buy your both a blitz deck or the classic battle set and just like start playing and watching.
And just go for it. The pre-con blitzes are like $10 to $15 a pop. Mm-hmm. Classic battle pack you can get for $50, but it comes with that one really expensive Dory card and the mats and everything else. So it's not bad, especially nowadays you can find it for more like $35 or $40. So it's even a little bit better. So you're paying about the same either way, but they're great ways to jump in. Pretty decent decks, not, tournament tops or anything, but definitely good to get into it, experience the play a little bit, pull somebody else in as well. And then once you have that bug bit, once they have experienced the absolutely beautiful quality of this game in all possible ways, et cetera, et cetera. James White, please send us a spoiler next time. Then you have the chance to go like, okay, well, we're really enjoying this. Let's pop down to our local game shop, or let's jump on this Discord and see if we can get a game with somebody else going.
Yeah.
Like at that point, once you've experienced it a little bit, I feel like it's sort of natural to want to play against other people and sort of experience those different deck builds and the different vibes of actually playing with different people in different places. So at that point, it becomes a really easy proposition to get somebody to come to a store with you, to visit an armory, or to do just a little skirmish event or a play anywhere or what have you.
Yeah. And if you're a parent out there and your kid's like 16 going to high school and wants to find a cool hobby, like as you go shop for Flesh and Blood, you're not going to Target or those other name brand stores to like go buy Flesh and Blood.
For the most part, no. Yeah. They're not going to be in the big boxes.
They're not really going to be there, but you're going to go to a local game store anyways to find that. And so while you're there finding a store that has Flesh and Blood product, and while you're there buying a pre-constructed Blitz deck for your kid because you'd like them to get into it or whatever, if that's the narrative that you're going for, you can find out a day that's there. And so you could be able to buy the pre-con Blitz deck and then be able to be like, cool, let's go to the local armory now and go try it out. And you're going to have people there that are going to be like, yeah, and help you and give you cards to really get started. Another option is, I just thought of this, is like, if you're already really in this hobby and you've been playing for a while and you have like won a couple playmats with raffles or being the player of the month or whatever, if there's a playmat you're not using, it's a great opportunity to get a little gift and build. And if you don't have a lot of money, you could be like, here's a playmat and here's a pre-constructed commoner deck that I made for you in a little deck box. And I specifically thought of it for you. And you could give them this like cool little like Flesh and Blood starter set so you guys can play together, and they have a playmat and a thing, and they could do what they want.
All the accessories you need. You have your deck, you have your box, you have your mat. Throw in a couple of dice for counters, you're good to go.
Yeah. And if you're a little bit more bougie and like, I want to spend hundreds of dollars, you could totally build out your own like Flesh and Blood Blitz deck for this person. But I don't recommend that option.
I made you a CC deck.
Because you want to make sure they're really into it first. So.
Before you plop a bunch of money down on it. Yeah.
You're safe with that pre-constructed or commoner,
Like, really, frankly, like, commoner deck gifts are phenomenal. And I don't know that we harp on commoner a lot here because it's great and we love it. But genuinely, guys, showing up and just giving somebody like, okay, yeah, you learn to play. Great game. No, I don't want those cards back. You keep them. They're yours.
Yeah.
Like that has such a great, like, immediate effect.
It's really good. Like I've been able to give out a few just by having our armories and be like, here you go. And they appreciate it every time. And they start coming back with their commoner deck that they have. And sometimes they adjust it and it's awesome. So I think that's a really good option, is just like make a few or make one. And if you want to make it for all your friends so you guys can play Ultimate Pit Fight on Christmas Day, then you could totally do that and just treat it like another board game. Which
exactly.
Is cool.
And like, really, like, that is the ultimate point of it. And we've said it before. We're going to say it again. We're going to keep harping on this. It's a game. If you're not having fun, then what are you doing here? And there's no better way to have fun with something like this than just to get a couple of your good friends together, sit down at your kitchen table, and just start beating each other up with cards.
Yeah. Yeah. And now let's take it to a different direction. Like let's say you're a loved one whose significant other, or you're a parent whose kid's already really into Flesh and Blood, and you're here for some reason to figure out what gift to get them.
First, hello.
And they're already experienced. Yeah, hello. If you've listened this long, that's awesome. Thank you. And I hope you play too. But also,
here's some advice.
I think if they're already experienced in Flesh and Blood and all that stuff, you can't go wrong buying a box of the newest set. The reason I say the newest set is you don't have experience on knowing what they need from all the sets. So you can't go wrong hitting up with the new because they have probably the least amount of it, and they can go from there. If you find something that's like that from an older set's called first edition, and you're willing to spend that money, like that could be really fun too for an experienced Flesh and Blood player. But the other thing, if you wanted to get creative with gifts for a Flesh and Blood player, is if you go on Etsy and type in that good old Flesh and Blood, there are really cool tokens for encounters for attacks and stuff. And so you'll see something called like a pitch counter, or even like life total counters, or even like +3 attack like counters, stuff like that. If you see any tokens or coins like that, I think that's a really cool, heartfelt gift to give someone who's really into the hobby. If you want to try to get something specific for their deck, you may start looking very suspicious as you start asking questions you may normally ask, like, oh, what card are you missing? Because they'll be like, why?
That's really specific data that you're trying to find out.
So you could totally buy a single if you wanted to. If they were like, if you know from the top of your head what they're really looking for. But I would recommend either getting like cool little tokens for them to be able to use, a really nice deck box, or of course, just a box of the newest set. And that could be like really cool, heartfelt gifts that would be for a Flesh and Blood player.
Just honestly, like having somebody who bothers to know what your hobbies are and get you something related to those, like that's all that matters. Yeah. Like if a member of my family came to me and they gave me, a pair of socks for Christmas, but they were socks with Azalea's sad face stitched in on them, I would be freaking thrilled. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Even though I probably will never use them or display them or anything like that, it still was thoughtful. It still was indicative that they were putting, sort of my preferences and my enjoyment at the forefront of their mind, trying to figure it out, which is phenomenal. So guys, even if you don't actually have any idea what to do, if you know they like Flesh and Blood, maybe you know who their favorite hero is, get them a t-shirt. Maybe you don't. Maybe you just give them the counters. But looping it into that displays that you're interested as well. And so then they not only have that little bit of a charge from you, thinking of them in that, but then it's also a great opportunity if you wanted to get a little bit deeper into it to actually say, well, I got these counters for you. Could you show me how to use them or something?
Yeah. And what's interesting about this hobby is like, even though we are in the world of like wish lists, like digital wish lists from different websites, right? Like you can't really do that on like Etsy yet. You can't really like go send a wish list of like, this is the items I want on Etsy. And so maybe you can, maybe I should look into that, but people don't typically use that. Right.
I haven't seen it. Yeah.
Yeah. And so like when they're sending you your wish list, it may be stuff that's not even about their hobby. And so that's why it's a little bit cool to be more like into that for gift giving. That's gift giving 101 though. We're not a podcast about gift giving, but if you want to,
today we kind of are.
We kind of are. But like the Flesh and Blood, like if they're into it, like find out a little bit more details of what they're talking about and stuff. And you can go from there,
Most people who like this hobby are happy to not stop talking about it.
Right.
Evidence A and B right here. We've been doing this for a while now. We have absolutely no idea what we're doing. So it's great.
I know. I always be like, man, we have a podcast about it.
Right. Yeah, we know this game.
Yeah, this game's awesome.
We plan everything.
Yeah.
All of this.
Everything is planned. But yeah, I honestly recommend that if you're here looking for gift advice, that would be the best way to go for that. Again, trying to get your friends into it. We already know the drill. We know what we're doing.
Right.
Do the columnar stuff. Do the pre-con blitz decks.
Exactly.
Do that stuff. If you're a parent and that just wants to get into a hobby with their kid and think Flesh Blood's the way to go, classic battles all the way.
Classic battle.
You're gonna realize if you like it or hate it from that. So
100%.
That's my recommendation on all those gifts. And pre-con blitz decks are great stocking stuff, or even just a couple booster packs is great stocking.
Right.
Stuff.
So the booster packs are like $3 a pop.
And
so
like, ooh, paper.
Right. Rip.
Mm-hmm.
That was so easy to open. I don't even want to look at the cards now.
Yeah. But yeah, it's great. So I think that was a great topic to really dive into.
Yeah, it was solid. It didn't last as long as I thought it was going to. But, that's on me for not thinking things out completely.
I don't know. You owe me presents.
You're right, exactly.
We're going to stretch it out as long as we can.
Gift giving.
I heard about those Levia candy canes. No, I'm just kidding.
You mean car air fresheners with your favorite hero plastered on them?
Hey, I've done that. That's a good gift.
I know.
Yeah.
Guys, he gave me one with Levia's face on it 3 or 4 months ago when I was sick with COVID.
It actually wasn't a bad gift.
It actually was pretty freaking great. It's in my car even now.
I have fire in mine. Yeah, I got one for myself because
fire.
I had to. It smells great. So you could do stuff like that, which was a lot of fun. People really actually ended up enjoying this.
Right?
Yeah.
Like this is cool.
Yeah. So yeah, I think those are good like options to do for Flesh and Blood gift giving.
If anybody puts Oldham on a cake or something, please send us some pictures.
Yeah.
We'd really love to see that.
Oh, that's a good one. You just reminded me, there's a lot of cool companies out there that make custom playmats. And so if you're familiar with Oldham, or not Oldham, if you're familiar with the hero, if you're familiar
Have you heard the word of our Lord and Savior Oldham, the grandfather of eternity?
If you know your person's favorite, the person you're getting a gift for is favorite hero, it could be, and they're into other hobbies. For example, let's say you're getting a gift for me. I don't even know who my favorite hero is anymore, but let's say it's Dramai, right? I really like Dramai, and I think she's really cool. And you also know I am a huge fan of Dead by Daylight, right?
That is true.
Yeah.
You have mentioned that once or twice here on this podcast.
Yeah, so I'm a huge fan of Dead by Daylight. Dramai, Dead by Daylight. That kind of fits really well. I'm a fan of those two properties. It could be cool to go get a custom-made playmat with an artist drawing Dramai with a Dead by Daylight character. That could be fascinating. That could be weird, right?
Right?
Yeah. Or, a dragon eating a Dead by Daylight character would be hilarious.
Right.
So that type of stuff is you could go get an artist to be able to do those things. That's going to cost a lot more premium, right? Because you have to pay the artist, and that could be
But if you really love this person, you'll do it.
Yeah. Or if you just more simpler, they're into Oldhim and they're really into the movie Alien, right? You could have Oldhim screaming with a xenomorph popping out of his chest. And that could be a cool art for a playmat, or just art in general. You can pay an artist to have that on the wall, and that'd be amazing.
Right, exactly. Mm-hmm. Or just swing down to your local game shop, ask if they have any posters. I guarantee you they're going to have a couple.
They're going to have a lot of posters
sitting in the back room taking up space. They would be happy to get them off of their hands.
Yeah. I don't think they have the lore book out yet, or I would suggest that for people too. But if you could find a copy of the lore book, that'd be a great gift.
Yeah, I don't know if they have I know they have an art book out, right?
They have it's an art/lore book,
yeah.
But I think they only give it away for pricing. So if you're able to find one that someone's selling and you're willing to pay premium for that,
$1,000 or whatever they're going to want for it.
I don't know if it's $1,000, but
I've seen the price of some of these cards. Those books are going to be expensive.
Yeah. So those are all great ideas that you could be able to do, and that's just for any hobby involving trading card games. Is if they're really into Pokemon and
or
they want to
Yu-Gi-Oh
or whatever,
Duel Masters,
you could get a cool custom playmat with their favorite Blue Eyes White Dragon, hanging out on the couch of friends or whatever,
I honestly, if we could get Dromai riding a Blue Eyes White Dragon.
Yeah, I would Charizard.
I would be
just
all over that.
All the dragons.
Me? Yeah, all the dragons.
Yeah, I like that. Dromai shaking hands with Daenerys Targaryen or
Mothers of Dragons.
Yeah, it'd be great. So those are some options. I think that's about it for the present making, but we do have a reoccurring segment before we wrap things up here.
My God, we do. Look out, everybody.
It's Lessons Learned.
Lessons Learned.
Greg, it's been 2 weeks since our last time. So what has there been any fundamental lessons that you've learned on playing this hobby, Flesh and Blood?
I mean, really, it's less of a lesson learned and more of a lesson reinforced. And it's kind of the same
new
thing.
segment.
Right. Lessons reinforced. But it's kind of the same thing that we've been talking about a little bit this episode, just to play the game and have fun.
Yeah.
So often you get into something, and I'm super guilty of this. I do this all the time, where I get into something and I'm like, okay, well, this is fun, but if I play with other people, I'm not actually going to win anything. And they're just going to, steamroll over me. I'm not going to have a good time. I'm so depressed now. Why even bother? Right?
Yeah.
But when you do that, you limit yourself to some of the other things that can come out of the game. Like, playing this game is not just about, the mechanical nature of draw card, play card, end turn. It's more than just that. It's more than the sum of its pieces. Mm-hmm. And, focusing so much on the more competitive nature of it, or really, desiring to have those wins and get those accolades and stuff is fine and great and everything. But it's ultimately a game. So if you're not having fun, you're not doing it right as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
And one of the big parts of that for me is going and playing with other people, not just with myself on Felt Table or something like that, which is fun. I test stuff like that all the time. But actually going out and talking to people and laughing over a particular move, or, the guy across me, this happened last time I went to play Commoner a week ago. I was sitting there trying to think out what I want to do with my move, and he just starts taunting me with do whatever you want. There are 2 immovables in my hand. You're not going to hit me. And we just played back and forth off of each other like that. And it was a lot of fun. He cleaned my clock. But I had a good time playing it because we had that connection and we had that sort of mutual enjoyment coming together over something that we both enjoyed.
Yeah.
So that's sort of the reinforcement. That's sort of the lesson that I took away from this again. It's just another reminder to slow down a little bit and to have a good time.
Yeah. And to kind of branch off of that, going into this hobby, especially getting new, you have to have the mindset that you're going to lose.
Oh, you're going to get your butt kicked all the time.
You will lose. right? From an experienced player, if you're brand new sitting across from them, you're not going to win. But I think if you have the mindset that you were talking about of like I'm going to lose, whatever, you're not going to last in the hobby a very long time.
Or any hobby, really.
Yeah. You need to make sure you have that like attitude of like, cool, I'm here to like learn and play and like get used to it and go from there. And like, even if I lose, it's fine. Like I'm just learning, and go from that approach. Or like, make sure you're still like, oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's so cool. Like have an approach of that. Like you're going to last a little bit longer, and then eventually you're going to start getting some wins. It's going to be a really good time. Right.
Exactly.
Like I still lose a lot
all the time,
but I'm having more fun now instead of being so serious about it. Right. Cause there was like, after my month or two, I got like really competitive in there. I was like, oh, I'm watching YouTube videos every day, and I got to like prime my deck up and like switch it up just like one card and like really like, and like it's fun to do that. Like it's really, really cool. But it also eliminated from a lot of other hobbies I had too. And so I was like, gotta like, make sure I still have time for other things.
Right. You got to balance.
Yeah. So it's good. Have fun. If competitive is your fun, then go all in.
Yeah, 100%. Whatever form fun takes for you.
Yeah.
If that's, doing the, one card tuning sort of stuff all the time, then rock on, man. Plenty of room in the hobby for you. If your thing is, I have this pre-con deck and I don't really even care, I just like hanging out with people for a couple hours every couple of days, like awesome. Welcome, brother. Great to have you.
Welcome, brother.
Exactly. Thank you. I really appreciate people getting my references. But yeah, so like there's so much that you can get out of this as long as you come in and you decide you're going to have a good time with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a great lesson learned. For me, my lesson learned was I got my slew of like 3 new people at an armory for a draft. They all showed up for draft and they had no idea what was going on.
Awesome.
And so I think my lesson learned was going back to the fundamentals because I was trying to explain things like, oh crap, I haven't like had to like teach someone how to do this in a very
long time,
in a minute. Like especially like from scratch and learning how to do draft. Like I have never taught someone how to play draft before because I recently learned how to play draft. And so it was kind of fun breaking down like, all right, well, here's your 3 core heroes. You got Fi, Dramai, and Icelander. And you can choose any of those heroes. But pretty much with this pack, like this set, I'm more like, just to give you a heads up, people are going to be picking their heroes pretty fast. Yep. And so you don't want to pick a hero that's like someone else is going to do. You're going to want to pick a hero that you feel more confident in. Have you played with any of these ones? Fi. It's like, you should probably go Fi. It's not good that I like know that. And you can change it up at any point of what you feel more comfortable. But I recommend you go that way. And so it was cool to be able to sit down and like help these people through draft and like not really like help them as they're sitting there. I know probably being like nervous, like what the heck, I'm sitting at this table with like 9 strangers and we have no idea what's going on. But they ended up doing well. Like they won a game against their other friend that was there that was new. But it was fun to be like, all right, well, now you're Fi versus me, who's an Icelander, and I'm sorry. Like I'm sorry. Like it's not good for you because you have 0 arcane barrier and I'm great,
So get ready to get wrecked, kid.
So it was good. It was a good time. But it was cool to go down to the fundamentals and like be able to learn and like talk things through, and just like remembering the core of the game actually helps you like play better in the game too, right? Like making sure you slow things down and stop going through the motions and explain things, help you like, oh yeah, I forgot about like this little mechanic, and be able
it's not just the rote, draw card, play card, and turn sort of thing. You actually put a little bit more thought into it again.
Like explaining things more intensely of like what your thought process is always kind of like good to be able to do that. So again, go back to the fundamentals. If you want to like get some practice reps in with your new deck, it'd be very smart to be at home and like do that thought process out loud or in your mind, whatever works better for you to like understand the more of the fundamentals of what your deck is.
Totally. And that's a fantastic lesson. I did want to piggyback off of that a little bit. Somewhat what you were talking about, like at the very start there, was super interesting. One of the biggest parts of being involved in a thing like this is, the community aspect of it.
Yeah.
And we've been big champions of that sort of thing. We bring people into the armories. You started up the Commoner Cup here in town, all that jazz. But a big part of being a good member of the community that I feel like really isn't focused on all that much is not just being welcoming, but having the ability to teach as well. or to be able to point to somebody and say, he's the guy who you want to talk to when you're learning all this stuff.
Yeah.
Because like it does no good to be welcoming and friendly and all that. And then when they ask you, you know, a question about a card or what is this format or something like that, if you immediately shut down and say, no, you should have known that before you got here, sort of thing. So like really for me, what I've observed is that the most successful, like tightly knit communities are communities where everybody in it is exchanging knowledge and being open and honest with one another and just being straight up like, I don't know exactly what this does. Can you give me some, you know, use cases? I'm not sure how to do a draft. How do you do a draft?
Yeah.
What's the difference between a draft and a sealed deck? What's, you know, all those sorts of things that you may not know just coming in because it's fairly specialized knowledge. Like that sort of stuff, I feel like it's the responsibility of us as the community is sort of be willing to step out there and not just welcome new people in, but make sure that they're here and able to actively participate in the fullest way possible.
Yeah.
So it was really awesome to hear you say that. You just, you know, sort of jumped in and did that. That's exactly the kind of
thing
I
know.
need.
I mean, it's kind of just with the podcast and everything. Like, I feel like it's not a responsibility, but we kind of have like, you know, taken a little bit of the mantle of ourselves.
Well, we decided to start screaming about it very loudly.
Yeah.
So it's natural that people will be
so
like, go talk to those screaming guys over there.
Yeah. So that's what's happening a lot. It's like, oh, talk to Matt and he'll talk to you about Columnar and like how to get into it and all that stuff, which is really nice. Like I enjoy the community, like, hey, like go like here. And they're utilizing the things that we create to be able to do that, which is cool. Very honoring and very cool. So,
it's phenomenal. Yeah. Guys in the local community out there, thank you.
You're cool.
We love you. We see you. You're our buddies.
Yeah. I feel like we have another segment, but we don't.
Right?
I feel like we have a second segment.
Right? But we've played around with a second segment every once in a while, but
I don't know. It's been really a 2-week break is not good.
No, it's not. I'm all off. Like my rhythm is gone. Like
you know. But yeah, guys, again, it's a little bit shorter episode, but we're back. Go buy those nice, sweet presents for people. But
if you want to buy something for your pals Matt and Greg, you can do that too. P.O. Box.
No,
please don't.
No. If you want to, reach out to us on Twitter, but it's all right. But anyways, guys, this has been the Volunteer Podcast. I hope you guys got something out of it. Go out there, have some fun, get those shitty Xmas gifts. That'll be the name of it.
Shitty Xmas gifts.
Getting shitty Xmas gifts.
Heck yeah.
But go out there, get those promo cards. That's what it is. For those who are still listening, we're not saying your gifts are shit. It's a promo card, which
called
is
Shitty Xmas Gift
from Flesh and Blood.
It's possibly the best card ever made.
It's very funny. Yes. With that, we hope you have a fantastic December, and we will see you next week. I am Matt.
And I am Greg. Guys, thank you so much for being here. Have a phenomenal rest of your week. We'll see you next time.
Toodles.
Bottoms up.